Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
All right, welcome to my 8th episode of This is Floxed on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. This is a special episode dedicated to Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day, which will be held October 22nd, 2025. Fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome, which is also known as being Floxed, just means that a person is experiencing the adverse effects of a fluoroquinolone antibiotic like Cipro or levofloxacin or many others. You can get Floxed from all forms of fluoroquinolones, which include the pill, IV, injectables, eye drops, and ear drops. Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day is a worldwide virtual event. The importance of this day is that our community joins together in solidarity and to raise awareness for our cause. On October 22nd, what typically happens is that people post articles, pictures, anything related to fluoroquinolone toxicity pretty much all day. You can post stuff about yourself, a friend, pictures, whatever it may be. We just post multiple times over and over and over in the day. The thought behind this is because as someone is scrolling through social media and we're inundating it with everything related to fluoroquinolone toxicity, that someone's bound to see at least one post related to fluoroquinolone toxicity. And now that this is our second year, we know that's exactly how it works, and people saw definitely way more than one post, which was really good. So the difference, it's going to be a little different from last year because the ICD-10 codes have been approved October 1st, so that's something we're going to want to advertise. Additionally, we have the informed consent petition that we'll want to have people sign during this effort as well. You do not need to be Floxed to participate in Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day. Anybody that supports or cares about this cause is who we want to participate on that day. So if you are interested in participating in Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day, again, that's next week, 8 days, Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. Here's a few tools that are available for you to use and participate that day. We have something called the Google Drive that contains everything that you need to know about this day. So I'm just going to mention a couple of things, but the link will be in this episode, and then you can go there and it's right there, and you can play around and look at what's out there. But here are some things. So the first thing is that we have some signs for you to fill out. You print it, you fill it out, and then you take a picture and post it on social media. It looks like this. So I don't know if it's backwards when you see it, but you know, my name is Talia and I've been Floxed, so we have that. There are signs that you can do this on behalf of a loved one, so it doesn't have to necessarily be for yourself. We have profile rings, and the great thing about those is people see the rings on people's social media profiles and say, what is fluoroquinolone toxicity? I mean, any way we can to draw attention and raise awareness. We also have a Redbubble, Amazon storefront, and another storefront on This is Floxed to sell fluoroquinolone toxicity gear at $0 profit. So you can't really see my shirt, but this is one of the things that's available on the store. On October 22nd, we'll also have 2 meetings that day. for us to join together and talk about the events of the day and just to meet each other. So again, you can find all that information on the G Drive. And last but not least that I'll mention is that there's an information packet on there that has all the black box warnings, scholarly articles related to fluoroquinolone toxicity that you can use to educate yourself on the day or use it to educate your doctors or family members. So now that I've gotten that out of the way and explained what Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day is and how we kind of do that, let's get to the meat of the show. I have 3 friends, well 2, one will hopefully be joining shortly, that will be participating on October 22nd from around the world. They are all floxed and harmed by fluoroquinolone antibiotics. First, I'll mention Sibylle Dahrendorf from Germany. You probably remember her from a couple episodes ago when we discussed complex chronic illness. We also have ILENIA GUARDIGLI from Italy, who's been posting her recovery journey for the last couple of years on Keep Climbing on Instagram. And lastly, hopefully she'll be able to join, we have STEPHANY BOIVIN from Canada, who's more recently floxed than us, but has been sharing her story on TikTok at Damsa's World. So with all of that being said, I will start. Welcome my guests to the show. Hello, ladies. Oh, Stephanie,
Hello.
yes,
I
yes,
made
yes.
it. Yeah.
So glad. Well,
Me
welcome to
too.
the show. I'm so happy you guys are here. So I figured the best way to start this show off is just to ask you, can you briefly explain what fluoroquinolone you took and your experience being floxed? So since there's 3 of us, I'll just pick one person to start. I'll start with Sibylle since she's done this before. Tag, you're it.
I try. Hello to everybody first. Thank you for having me and thank you for meeting all the others today. So I have a pretty uncommon history. So it took me years and years to find out that I was given the toxic antibiotics, among those fluoroquinolones, but also metronidazole. In fact, I found it out via a TV report in 2019 where a young man called Sven Forstmann, many people know him, sitting in a wheelchair was talking about his devastating symptoms after being floxed. And I was thinking, well, oh my gosh, this guy is talking exactly about my symptoms. And I was already diagnosed with ME/CFS and orthostatic intolerance. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, what to do now? So then I started my research, digging deeper, and I did a DNA adduct test in 2019. And the test, unfortunately, is no longer available in Germany. And the test showed up fluoroquinolones and metronidazole, which means my mitochondria was damaged by those 2 antibiotics. I found out then I was given Bactiflox in 2011 against food poisoning while I was working abroad. I had strange symptoms afterwards, but the symptoms went slowly away. Many years later, I was already pretty sick. I was given eye drops with ciprofloxacin, but for wound healing in my jaw, that was in completely messed up situation. And my mitochondria and my nerves were slowly dying more and more. And I'm one of those chronically ill patients who already had a lot of antibiotics in my entire life and a lot of infections. So what I know now, what I didn't know at that time, that the fluoroquinolones damaged my body, and I had other hits which were, how to say, like to give adding fuel to a fire or something like
The
that.
perfect storm.
Yeah, that's it. I had various and many hits in my case, and everything slowly escalated to a point where I was and still am bedridden with Portsmouth fiber neuropathy, chronic muscle and nerve pain, POTS, mast cell activation, heavy mast cell activation syndrome. I have an unstable spine, connective tissue disorder, and so many things more.
Yeah. A lot of us suffer with the same symptoms. That's why it's great to all talk about this, because we're from all over the world and yet we experience the same things. So who wants to go next? Stephanie?
Yeah, sure. I could go. I'm recently fluxed, so I today or soon is gonna be my 5th month. I consider myself lucky because I found out I was being fluxed within 2 days, which is amazing for me, and I think it made the difference in my story. Um, I had really severe symptoms. It started by addendum. I took Cipro, and just to mention, I took like Cipro probably over 10 to 20 times in my life, and I always reacted good until that day. So whoever said, "Oh, Cipro, I took it," just I know a lot of people think they're safe. So it started by a pain in my ischial tendon, and I remember read something about it on internet vaguely, but I didn't believe it. I was like, maybe it's not true. But when I felt it, I went back to internet and I checked. So I stopped to take this antibiotic right away. And then I saw all of the people that had been fluxed and all of their symptoms. So I was really aware right away, and I knew not what not to do. So and what to do. So I applied it immediately, but I was already going into all of the flux symptoms. So I just was support, and I was not scared, and I knew what was going on because I knew I was flux. So um, my energy become really weak. I couldn't walk, so I was bedridden for 2 months. I had to use a wheelchair. I had my husband have to take care of me 24 hours a day. I couldn't do anything by myself, and I couldn't sleep. I had heart palpitation. I had issue breathing. Stress was really, I couldn't stay alone because I was so scared. I had a lot of symptoms, but these are the ones that I remember the most. I couldn't barely eat. I lost 15 pounds within a month. My family was really worried about me, and I saw all of the story of the people that wasn't able to recovery, and even after years, they still have major symptoms. And I started to look for positive story because internet, I think right now we see more of the people that have a hard time getting back healthy, and the one that are flux but recovery fast or have mildest symptoms, we don't heard about them often. But I start to look for these story and focus on my recovery that was possible, and as soon as I did that, I started to feel better. And that's why I started my TikTok. It's to show people that recovery was possible. So yeah, I have a different um, flag story because I consider myself really lucky to figure it out super early and have all of the tools that Talia and the community have put in place, which other didn't have the chance to have, and have to wait years before figure it out that they were flux. So yeah.
Just one quick question, because you were breaking up, but this was not the first time you took a fluoroquinolone, right? Earlier you said you took it a bunch of times.
I took
It,
Cipro so many times. Like honestly,
it,
like I don't know how many, but probably more than 15, 20 times. And I never experienced any of the symptoms until that day. I don't know what happened. So people often think, "Oh, I'm fine. I won't react." You could react anytime in your life. So that is a major thing that I try to learn to people, is that nobody's safe. Nobody.
right. And they say that the toxicity from fluoroquinolones is cumulative. So it depends also what you have going on in your body. So some people will get sick, 3 pills in, Some people will get like you after 15 dosages. For anybody watching this that is thinking, because I get it all the time on my posts and messages sent to me, I've taken this my whole life and never had any issues. I don't have to worry. We're here to tell you, yes, you do. Don't end up like us.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So,
exactly.
ILENIA, how about you?
Hi. I will thank you for having me in your transmission, and I took an antibiotic of the family of Fluoroquinolone in 2022 that called Floxacin, a strange name, so it's difficult to pronounce. And after 3 years, I started developing strong pain in both my ankles that stopped me walking, and I have to use a wheelchair, and I'm using still today for long distance. And it took 1 year to find out that I was Floxed. At first, the doctor says that was an orthopedic issues, but after 1 year, I found out on internet, in Facebook, some group of healing and advising help about fluoroquinolone toxicity. And I started use some supplements that people suggest to me, and I went to some specialists that I found in that group, and day after day my situation began getting better, and that took 3 years almost. And now, after 3 years, I can for short distance driving. That is a big
Improvement?
yeah, improvement. And Floxed is a very traumatic experience, especially for young people, because no one knows this situation, and is very, very frightening. Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point, I was afraid of dying due to pain. It's very, very traumatic.
Well, one of the problems, well, there's so many problems, but one of the major problems is that there's no cure, so to speak. We just treat our symptoms and hope for the best. Like, there's no standard protocol, no cure, no, it just, and nobody really knows about it. So you have to rely on doctors that kind of know something, and then do your own research and just whatever happens, happens. That's the thing. So that's why we have these awareness days to tell everybody that, you know, avoid it at all costs if you can, because once you're floxed, it's going to be really hard for you to come back from that. So why put yourself at risk and in this situation if you don't need to? I wish I could go back, but I can't. So one of the things I wanted to ask, because we're all advocating on Fluoroquinolone Toxicity Awareness Day, is this is such a scary thing, and you're scared, you're traumatized, you don't feel good, and yet somehow we're all on social media sharing our story, warning others. So how and why did you decide to become an advocate? And has that helped or hurt your recovery? I don't know. Who
I
wants
could
to go?
start.
Okay.
I will. I will. Um, I found it important that I would reflect maybe a different story, a quick recovery, a 4-month recovery, a 5-month recovery, to show people that even if they're flux, um, to not believe that they will remain like that for years. It could happen, but it could be different as well. And at my big, I'm at the beginning, that was my biggest scare, my biggest worry was that I saw people having really, really hard time after years. They remain in their wheelchair, like you, Talia,
Mm-hmm.
like you. So I thought that it was it for me because I was bedridden within a month and I couldn't walk. I thought that was it. So now, after 4 months, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
After 4 months, I'm able to do activity like I went in a hike. I did bicycle. I did activity that I thought it would be not possible even after years. So I want to let people know that it's possible. That there's different story, and I want to show them on internet. So yeah,
Thank you for
that's
that. Yeah, it's very emotional topic. Trust me. I'm still here. So, how about you, Sibylle?
I mean, this is a very important point. What Stephanie said, it's super important to find out immediately if you are Floxed. Then you can do something. But if you need years and years to find out, oh, what's the reason in my puzzle pieces here, why I'm so incredible sick, bedridden, without any help from the healthcare system, that then you are losing really time, and this is an important time. You have to realize what's going on in your body immediately, but without any help from the healthcare system, which is, in my opinion, I mean, I have some other thoughts on that for later, in my opinion, really a crime why those fluoroquinolones are still prescribed in so many cases, and they are so overprescribed as well in cases. I know so many people in Germany who were prescribed fluoroquinolones without having an infection, and now they are really in wheelchairs or lying in bed and suffering with chronic pain, small fiber neuropathy, mast cell activation, that stuff. And so, but I left your question, but really that was important what Stephanie said. And so I wished that I had my knowledge, which I have now today, 10 or even 20 years before, as well the knowledge that fluoroquinolones can be a piece of a puzzle as well. You can have persistent infections, you can have Borrelia Lyme infection and Bartonella and fluoroquinolone toxicity. You can have you can have different combinations of something, and fluoroquinolones also play a very or pretty important role, and nobody's taking, I don't know what, awareness of that fact. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's helping those poor people suffering at home. So, I mean, that didn't answer your question, but
No, but it's still a good content, Sibylle. Yeah. I think one of the things, like what you're talking about, one of the important things about that, like everybody that's watching this that has reached out to me, I mean, you probably remember our first conversation, Stephanie. What you should not do is almost important as what you should do at the beginning. And this is where I went wrong, because I had no clue what to do. I had no Talia on TikTok to show me what I shouldn't be doing. I did everything wrong. I jumped into the Western medical system. I had MRIs, I had gadolinium, I had NSAIDs, I had everything done. I look back and was like, I literally did everything wrong because I didn't know. And I'm sure that's why I'm still here 4 years later like this, because what I did at the beginning just made every single symptom worse.
Yeah.
So this is why I try to tell people all the time, especially if you're watching this show, if you are floxed, be very careful about what you're going to do next once you realize. Please check out my videos on YouTube about what not to do when you've been floxed, so you don't make yourself worse or potentially delay your recovery. So I just have to add that to what you said, Sibylle, because that's really, really important. Like for me, like you said, stay out of the Western medical system for me, because that was my total downfall. So
Yeah,
yeah,
But
and
you
it's
made the
emotional.
difference, Talia, because I wouldn't be here healed almost, like, if it wouldn't be from your advice.
Thank you. How about ILENIA? Sorry, I get emotional too. How about ILENIA?
I started do videos on Instagram because no one speak about this in all social media, and I think that is very, very important to share with all the world about fluoroquinolone toxicity, because doctor don't know this problem. They overestimated this problem and still prescribed this poison, I think, not meds, poison. And I think that these videos can prevent other people to be damaged or be victim of this.
Yeah.
yeah.
This is
Can I add something, Talia?
of course.
I mean, I was so shocked when I found out that I took fluoroquinolones, and fluoroquinolones as well play a role in my deteriorating body. I was asking myself, how is it possible in a modern society that those poison, it's real poison, that those pills are being prescribed like candies all over the world, and the people are so incredible sick. All the fibromyalgia people, I mean, as well, a lot of people in the ME/CFS community took ciprofloxacin or levofloxacin. We even do not know all the Lyme sufferers. They are treated with antibiotics all the time. Do they take fluoroquinolones? I got messages from long COVID sufferers because of our documentary, which was aired in February 2025 in Germany. Long COVID sufferers wrote me messages. I got COVID. I was pretty sick, but I could handle my homework and something like that. I couldn't go for grocery. And then I got super inflammation flare, and I got fluoroquinolones, and since then I'm in bed. You know, this is what I'm talking about. Often it's sometimes so difficult to find out that you have fluoroquinolones in your history.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really, it makes me angry.
I know. This is gonna transition into my next question about what rules are there, if any, in your country about fluoroquinolones. So here in the United States, we have 7 black box warnings, and they are supposed to be used as last resort only. However, there are many prescribers that don't follow the guidelines, and absolutely nothing happens to them when they don't. So we have these rules. Who do they actually protect? I don't know. But this is what it is in the United States. Warnings that people don't have to listen to. How about in Germany?
Germany. I wrote down some things because it's a complicated topic. So we have so-called red hand letters in Germany, rote Handbriefe. This is not a black box warning like in the US. It's only letters that are completely useless because no doctor reads them. So these letters are sent by a German medicine agency called BFARM, BFARM, to doctors. But obviously, doctors throw them into, I don't know, into the trash and don't take them seriously. The Federal Institute, I have to read it, for Drugs and Medical Devices last had to send out its own reminder letter to its own red hand letters in the summer of 2023. And that's absurd. They reminded themselves to the red hand letters. Then we have package inserts for fluoroquinolones, of course, and they describe, I say just in quotes, the side effects. They do not talk about lifelong threatening torture and tragedies and damage. So no word. So they describe, let's say, side effects, and everybody thinks, okay, if it's a side effect, that will stop when I will stop taking the drug. And that's completely a lie. And that is really dangerous because as a patient, you think, okay, if I stop the drug, the side effect will go away. Then, unfortunately, we don't have a new ICD code for fluoroquinolone poisoning. That was, how to say it rejected. And we have a so-called secondary code, but this only refers to the word complication. So they are describing life-threatening secondary disease from the fluoroquinolone poisoning as a complication. And we interviewed for the film, for the documentary which was aired in February 2022. We interviewed the president of the Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices, Bundesinstitut für Arzneimittel und Medizinprodukte, BfArM, for our documentary, and the president said he would never take fluoroquinolones again. Strange, isn't it? Strangely, the same agency rejected a primary ICD code in Germany for fluoroquinolone toxicity.
Yeah.
Political topic.
I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
How about
Can
you,
I-
Stephanie?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Ilenia, go ahead.
Because the situation in Italy is similar to Germany. Because I think in Europe is the rules are the same. Here in Italy we have AIFA, AIFA, an Italian med agency that send letters like in Germany to doctors about the risks and possibly the damaging of people who took fluoroquinolone. But the doctor doesn't read that letters. That's the main issue.
Yeah. How about in Canada?
Because I'm newly fluxed, I didn't really dig into like the rules here in Canada, and I didn't do my mes devoirs. I don't know how to say that in English. Sorry.
Okay.
But I could speak from what I understood here. When I call my pharmacien to let him know that I have symptoms, the first one was a younger, and he didn't know what I was talking about, and he almost laughed. He was like, "You read that on the internet? It's not possible." And the second one was older, and he says, "Wait, let me talk to her." And he knew about it, but really vaguely. So he's like, just go back to see your doctor. My doctor knew about it. He's the one that's prescribed it to me. Never say anything about it. But as soon as I tell him that I had symptom, he asked me to stop. But he thought it would be like a 2 weeks thing. He gave me like a 2 weeks rest for my feet. That's it for him. When I call him back, and I was like, it's still there and it's getting worse. He was like, then it's not that. So here in Canada, I think it's the same. They prescribe it like candy. Everyone that I know already took one of these antibiotic for a small infection. Everyone that I know. So it's really overprescribed it still. And when we go back with symptom, and even when we know that we're flux, they're still denied it. He want me to pass so many tests that I refuse because of you guys. But if I didn't know that I would be in flux, I would have research it, and I would have done so many things that would have made me worse. So yeah, it's really not unknown, but even if they know, they don't really fully understand because they still prescribe me Advil, cream for like the when you swallow, ERM test, everything that they shouldn't do, they're still doing it. So in my head, I'm like, at least if you're not still prescribing it, but if we come back with symptoms, don't make us worse, like they should
Yeah.
at least know how to treat it. And the only people here in Canada that really help, and I found us lucky, we have a lot of functional doctor, and
Yeah.
they're really great. They do go with the rules, and they know what not to do. So at least we have them to put us back to track. But no, here in Canada, I think it's similar to US. We do have warning, but they do not follow it. They don't tell us anything about it. And worse, when we go back with the information, they don't even believe us. They send us back home or with treatment that would harm us, and make us worse. So,
Yeah.
but I
Before
think
before
we're doing a great job
yeah. Before I get
with
into my
the.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I
I
thought
think we have a delay, so that's why.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say before I get into my last question, because I'm looking at the time here, I just want to say that what's mind blowing to me is that, and for the USA in 2015, it was the FDA that coined the term fluoroquinolone associated disability. And they have put out all the warnings and all the studies, and they're so damaging. They have provided all the statistics that I speak about in my videos, that they have the most adverse effects, blah, 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 blah. But like, nobody does anything with this. It doesn't make sense to me. And I guarantee you, if there were some ramification, that doctors would not be prescribing this as first line. I think back to when COVID hit, and I think it was Johnson and Johnson. Like 50 people had blood clots, or 10 people had blood clots. I don't know. It was a very small group of people had blood clots in their legs. And they immediately stopped the vaccine. They paused it. But yet you have this class of antibiotics that's been disabling and harming people for decades, and you have all these warnings, and it's still being prescribed. So that just makes my head want to pop off. And this is why we need to do things like this. So I really want to, I know it seems like I'm rushing, but I really want to get into this last question because it's very important for me, for everybody that's watching, especially for those that are floxed and their family members that are watching, family or friends watching a loved one go through this. Being floxed is one of the worst things I think possible. Like, you're literally alone. Your life completely changes. You lose everything. I've heard the term that, we're living ghosts, and it I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So for those of you that are watching and are floxed and feel so hopeless, especially if you're at the beginning of your journey, I want everybody on the show to give a message of hope. How did you get through your most difficult times? What words of advice, anything, would you give to someone that's watching that has no hope and thinks that they'll never recover? How about you, ILENIA? How about you go first?
I think that at the first therapy is very important because it's very difficult to go through this situation, and the very important things is to stay positive and to never lose hope of healing, to maintain positive thought even possible, because we have bad times, and to go ahead and try to live life the fullest as possible, even with Floxed situation.
Thank you. How about Stephanie?
I would say that the beginning is the worst. That won't reflect your future. It doesn't mean that because you're have really really bad symptoms at the beginning, even if you're bedridden. I thought that because I was bedridden I would have stayed bedridden, and I'm not, and it happened quickly. But it's scary, I understand. The fact that stay on internet and look at story and symptoms, sometimes me, I felt like it make me worse. I should have maybe just go for advice for what I have, but I was keeping and reading and reading and reading, and I was scared, I was stressed, and it was making my symptoms worse. As soon as I read positive story, and they are positive story, so I would say look for these one. Give your time, give your body time to heal. It will heal. Just focus on the positive story, and it would happen. It's just, again, your body will need time. So yeah.
Thank you for that. And Sibylle, to close out the show.
As you know, Talia, I'm not so good at giving huge amount of hope because I have so many multisystemic illnesses in my body, including the chronic cervical instability, which I think, or I'm convinced, as well as a consequence of the fluoroquinolone toxicity. I have all those persistent infections, Borrelia, Bartonella, herpes viruses, blah, blah, blah. And it's very difficult for me to have or to give hope, but it's worth to look for therapies or to look for, so what can help me to feel a little bit better. So I'm now in just say after years, I mean, I'm over a decade long sick. I found some therapies which helped me, and I can sit longer than I could sit. I can even walk through my apartment. I cannot go outside, so I'm really closed in my apartment. But that was not possible for many years. So so that's maybe as well. As well, it is a little bit of hope. Don't give up and try to search. But I know a lot of people who did not survive those nightmares, and I have to tell this because this is part of the truth, that people are so severely damaged by fluoroquinolones that they cannot, how to say that the symptoms are not longer bearable, that they have to go the route via assisted suicide. I have to speak it out loud because it's a political topic, and I hope that someone will finally take responsibility for all that, for all those affected and all those who already lost their lives, because it's a political topic. And that's for me very important to say that out loud. These fluoroquinolones must finally be removed and banned from the market. That's for me clear, so that they can cause no harm anymore. And we need education, media work, education, and anyone who's chronically ill in those times no matter with what, with Lyme, with ME/CFS, with long COVID, with post-vac, with I don't know what, really have to think about, do I have a history of fluoroquinolones? Can I have a history of fluoroquinolones in my body? Because that plays a huge role to your mitochondria, to your connective tissue disorder, to whatever else. So, and I believe there are many sufferers outside these days who have several hits, and so that's what, in fact, is my topic. It's often not just one thing, and I like to raise more awareness for that. So that's, I mean, what to give. And I want to add, or would like to add, we created a German Instagram and Facebook account dedicated exclusively to fluoroquinolone toxicity. The account is called FQAD Voices Germany, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook. And I would be happy if some people could follow us or give us some advices or something like that. I mean, we have to do education via social media. That's what is important.
Yep. And for me, one last thing I'll say for everybody watching, like, you know, I've said this before, when you meet me and see my story, it doesn't mean you're going to end up as bad as me. But just remember, I was on hospice and I had my last rites read, and I was told I had maybe 1 to 2 months to live, and I'm still here. So, as my grandmother used to say, you never give up hope until your last breath. And that is what I'm trying to do. So, you never know what can happen. Don't lose hope. And with that, I will close the show and say thank you to my guests. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, and I hope that everybody watching will join us on October 22nd, next Wednesday, to help raise awareness for fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next month.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Which of these 5 statements sounds mostly like you? 1. I often wake up in the middle of the night worrying about my future. 2. I'm angry or resentful towards a specific person. 3. I have anxious, obsessive, compulsive thoughts throughout the day. 4. I have an addiction like smoking, drinking, shopping, sugar, or social media. And 5, I feel that I'm wasting away my life. Hello, I'm Dr. Alkistis Agio, and for over 25 years, I've been coaching and training people from all over the world to transform their fears, insecurities, anxiety, and anger into mental and emotional freedom. I'm confident that my simple 3-step method based on Greek philosophy can help you to transform into the joyful, confident, free human being that you deserve to be. I want to invite you to join my weekly online coaching group to finally get the results that you want. Look, you've tried it alone so far, and you've had some okay results. But let's face it, you're still feeling stuck right now, spinning your wheels. Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, unless you realize this as a fact, that you are a prisoner of your own mind, you can't move forward. I'm here to support you, as well as the whole community that we are co-creating. Stop feeling stuck. Stop feeling depressed. You don't have to do it alone, and alone isn't working anyway. Sign up today, and I'll meet you on the inside of our amazing weekly group call. I guarantee that you'll make progress from the very first session.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram-Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram-Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, master the art of listening with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacqueline.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honored to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA-Global-TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.